Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network. I am your host, Ric Davis. As always, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Prime Real Estate Ric. Once again, you can follow me on IG and Facebook at Prime Real Estate Ric. I want to take some time to thank our partner and our main sponsor. If you are looking to buy or sell real estate or need property management services, I want to urge everyone to go to brooksanddavis.com. Once again, go to brooksanddavis.com. And after a week on the road promoting his new book, back in the co-captain's chair, we have the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. How you doing, my dude?
I am good. I'm good. It is great to be back. I missed you guys. Now, Ric had a awesome co-host. Thank you, Miss Carswell, for being here and assisting Ric when I was out. But yes, Ric, I was down in New Orleans for a week. I'm a member of an organization called the National Sales Network. In Houston, our chapter of the year.
Oh, wow.
My president is Amber Doss. She does a great job at leading us in that organization and making sure that we're getting the right kind of content. So had a chance while I was down there, myself and Mr. Darren Palmer did a Meet the Authors event, which went well. We did it at the Marriott right there on Canal Street. Had great people come out, share their stories, and just had an opportunity to just pour into them about the new book that I got, the Entrepreneur Code. And so it was great, Ric. I just, but I miss you guys. That's what's important. I'm back here today. I miss you all, and thank you.
I know it's good to have you back, but let's make sure everybody knows where to get a copy of that Entrepreneur Code.
I like that, man. It is entrepreneurcodebook.com, entrepreneurcodebook.com. Of course, you can always find me on any of the social media platforms at Texas Real Estate King. I love IG. You see that I post consistently, try to give you guys as many nuggets I can on there. But of course, this is the secret to success when it comes to real estate. Get on, join and follow us on the podcasts as we go.
I mean, once again, Larry, I want to thank you for being here. It's good to have you back. What makes today's show and today's episode is entitled In the Beginning. And the reason why this episode is entitled In the Beginning is because on this episode, I want to give everyone a little bit of a history lesson. I want to give everyone some perspective as far as being an entrepreneur, building a business, building a corporation. So to give you guys some information and facts and hopefully inspire is not only the CEO, but the co-founder of our managing and lead
CEO.
Sponsor, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, is Mr. Michael G. Davis. How you doing?
Man.
There you go.
Hey, man, I'm really glad to be here, Ric. And my business partner, who typically keeps me in the background. So I'm glad that I was able to get an invite to get out in front today. But I want to say, man, I really appreciate and applaud you guys for putting this platform together. Right, I mean,
thanks
it's you see podcasts and you see people doing that thing on YouTube, and to be able to come and see you guys building your brand and building your subscriber list and giving us opportunities to come talk, man, I really am grateful for that.
No doubt, man. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for bringing it up, and I want to remind everyone to subscribe to our podcast page on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. You can find us at Prime Real Estate Network on those podcast platforms. Also, we have a new Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. Please subscribe there as well. Leave us some great reviews and comments. We look forward to interacting with everyone. But Michael, This episode,
Michael G. Davis.
Michael G. Davis in the building.
In the building, man.
So no, this is super cool for our audience and for people who not had the opportunity to interact with you personally before. The reason why I was super excited to have you on the show, because I think your work with young people and the amount of time you spend out in the community, I thought it was super important to have you here as a guest so that you could share your story of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Being a business owner, being in a business partnership for the amount of time that you and Larry have been in business partnership together.
10 years, man.
Oh, wow.
10
10 years this year.
10 years this year. So just for our listeners and
Hold on, I'll
subscribers.
give a quick plug
Well,
about that.
go ahead,
10
please.
years.
10 years.
Mayor just sent over a proclamation.
Yeah, we got a proclamation from the city of Houston.
Yeah, so
10 years.
You know, we'll be doing more of a formal presentation of that sometime before the end of the year.
Yep.
But it's just amazing, man. So I'm sorry I introduced you.
No, please don't keep us in the
If I had a
loop.
tear, it'd be right there right now.
Hey,
I'm
look,
just
I
saying.
know, because I'm expecting a mixer, a
Oh, no, we gonna do
networking
it big.
event.
No,
So
we're going to do
definitely-
a party, bro. I'm trying to do my Nino Brown thing.
Oh, my
look
goodness gracious.
look over the city.
Come on, man. I want an ice swan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
All
all
of
of that. So definitely keep us in the loop.
Absolutely.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Brooks, please do that for us, because I know there's a lot of our viewers, a lot of our subscribers, and a lot of people who follow us on social media that would love to attend that type of event.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get into it, Mike. Man, my bad. I apologize. I'm just excited to have you here.
You're right.
Okay, so we talking about the beginning?
Let's
or
get
what
to
inspires like kind of
personal. Your
All right.
personal
If I
as
had
a
some
professional,
advice.
as a businessman. In the beginning, how would you advise someone
Okay.
who's decided that working for an entity and working for a company is no longer where they see their professional career going,
Right.
and they've decided that working for myself, eating what I kill, for lack of a better phrase, and I want to jump into this entrepreneurial thing. So in the beginning, when you made that decision, what were some of the things that you had to battle and struggle with?
Okay. Well, I started this thing about 14 years ago. So I was 24, and I can tell you at 24, you're a lot more confident in yourself than when you fast forward this thing. So
Right.
when it comes to dealing with fear, when it comes to dealing with apprehension, at 24 years old, no kids, you're not married, it don't matter. I'll jump head first and figure out how to swim later, right? 14 years ago, my conversation was everybody could be a business owner, right? Anybody could do it, right? Because people see you quitting your job. Like I was an employee at ConocoPhillips. I came out of school making $20,000 more than my mama was making. She had been with ExxonMobil for 30 years.
No, and that's what's so interesting, because to people on the outside, that was an outstanding opportunity.
Absolutely.
For some people, that's the opportunity of a lifetime, or at least a
Absolutely.
career.
Absolutely.
So what type of things did you have to deal with internally before you decided that this quote unquote great opportunity is not where I see my professional fulfillment?
Well, I think it goes back to when I was in college, and I subscribed to get my engineering degree because my dad, he was a chemist at Shell. My mom, she was in the regulatory department at ExxonMobil. I was really good in math. I was really in science. I was just really good in school, but I really liked math. I really liked science, and engineers made a lot of money. That's what people kept saying. Well, engineers make a lot of money, right? So I'm going to do so my junior year in high school, I'm going to do engineering, right?
Right.
My dad's a chemist, so I'm going to do chemical engineering, right?
It all made sense.
Right. So I go to Prairie View. I enroll in Prairie View, chemical engineering.
PVU, shout out.
PVU. And the first couple of years in college, you're just doing your basics, right? So I'm kind of killing it, making real good grades in college. You get into your core classes.
Right.
But not until I got into the summer of my junior year did I realize from a practical standpoint what engineers do. And at that moment, I'm like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. This is not what I want to do, right?
Right.
And I did some it was because I went on an internship. It was in Baytown, and I went on an internship, and I was able to see, this is what, because in my vision,
You saw the day to day, right?
yeah, and my vision was I wanted to wear suits. I wanted to sit at the board. I always wanted to be a business owner, right?
Right.
I wanted to be the CEO. I always wanted to be that. So I thought I could go that route. So even my first day of work, I'm putting on slacks and I'm putting on ties and dress shirts. Man, these people they business casual, man. They got on polo shirts, they got on Dockers, and they looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, and I don't want that point to go left unmentioned, is that you had a vision for yourself.
Right.
When you closed your eyes at night, you had a vision for how Mr. Michael Davis will present himself in a professional environment.
Right.
Now, the question I have to ask is, because this platform me and Larry are trying to establish is for the young people and the youth.
Right.
So what is it that you think allowed you to gravitate towards images of business and professional success versus those images that a lot of young people gravitate towards, like entertainers and athletes? Because if you were to line up a lot of kids, I don't think they necessarily see themselves when they close their eyes from a professional standpoint wearing tailor-made suits and monogram shirts and custom ties to work. So where do you think you got that influence and vision from? Was it from your dad?
TV.
That's a great answer.
TV,
Like
right?
a G.A. Davis answer all day.
I saw Billy D. Williams and Lady Singing the Blues. And I'm
TV,
like,
man,
man, it's
TV.
cool. I want to look like that.
It was like just the images that I saw. Like, I was never, I guess, personally never limited to just images of African Americans, right?
Exactly.
When I saw somebody in a suit, and then attorneys, like, I don't know what it's about, like being an attorney.
Right.
So, seeing these court shows and these court movies and the attorneys just looking sharp, right? And then the business CEOs just looking sharp in movies and TV. So I'm like, yeah, man, I want to look like that.
Right.
So I think it just kind of evolved, and it was just an undertone in my life, my whole life, as I was just growing up, going through high school, going through college. It was just always an undertone of, I want to look like a boss.
Right, exactly.
I even recall, I was a part of student leadership in college, and I recall walking down our student building or our student, commons at the time,
Commons area, right.
and daydreaming. Like, I'm walking down the hallway with a briefcase. I'm just daydreaming. Like, I recall that moment. And as you get older, you start kind of putting these dots together, and you start thinking back, like, oh yeah, I remember when I was thinking about that. And so now I know why I was thinking about that. Oh yeah, now I know why I was so interested in that right there.
Now, this is something interesting. Just to get back to your personal story. Now, you worked for ConocoPhillips, and you mentioned that your mother was in the oil industry as well.
Absolutely.
So how is it that you gathered the wherewithal to break the news to your parents that you were going to leave the comfort of corporate America, especially if you're going to live in Southeast Texas, being with one of the big energy companies?
Right.
That's pretty much as good as it's going to get from a professional standpoint, especially for somebody with an engineering background.
Absolutely, man.
So how did that conversation go with your parents? Were you single at the time, or were you married?
Yeah, no, I was single, man.
Okay, so how did that conversation
not
go
only
with
was
the
I
parents?
single, I was living with my mama.
So you were
At the
living
time
with
I
your
made
mom
that
when you were
decision.
quitting jobs.
Right.
The best job that a lot of people ever get.
Man, I mean,
so how did that go? I'm interested.
and I'll talk numbers, right? So when I was at Prairie View, there was only one. I only got one interview. Now, mind you, when I was at Prairie View, I pledged. I was in, leadership, student government, that kind of stuff. I had good grades. So when it comes to a resume, I had all that stuff that companies look for when they're, that they tell you in your career,
like your resume was
seminars,
really strong.
workshops.
Right.
They're like, yeah, this is the stuff that the employers want to see. You're doing all that stuff. Boom, you shouldn't have any issues, right? Well, I only had one company that considered me. Right. And the only reason that I got with that company was because I had interned with them, and they talk about this about who you know. Right.
Exactly.
I had interned with Conoco, and at the time there was a black guy. He was one of the regional managers, and I had interned under him. So I called him and was like, hey, look, the Conoco people they hadn't come and talked to me. Matter of fact, when they came on campus to interview me, they didn't even call me and tell me they was coming. Right. So I'm already on campus. I don't have no suit or nothing on. And I called him complaining, like, look, they didn't even call me, give me an idea of they was coming. And so now what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to go interview with them now like this.
Right.
So he said, all right, give me a couple of days. I'm going to call you back. All right. So he called me back. He called me back, and he was like, hey, look, in about a week, I want you to look for a package. You're going to get a package in the mail.
Right.
All right. Now, mind you, I haven't interviewed with nobody. None of other companies. I just made this phone call to him because the people didn't give me notice that they was coming on campus.
Right.
I go and I look in my mail. They didn't send me an offer letter.
Right.
So my man hired me, right?
Exactly.
Coming out of school, an offer letter, $12,000 signing bonus, right? I'm coming out making $63,000. This is $20,000 more than my mama been making. She been with Exxon for 25 years,
Exactly,
right? And then I'm 24 years old. No, I'm 22 years old is when I graduated. So I'm 22 years old, signing bonus, 60 grand a year, sitting in a good spot, right? So I do that. I relocate. My mom was like, look, how about you move in with me while you get yourself together? Now, hindsight, I wish somebody would have said, why are you going to live back with your mama? Like, you making 63,000. You got the signing bonus, man. Go buy you some real estate. Go get you an apartment. But it's time for you to be a man, right? Well, I didn't really have that. So I ended up going back, living with my mom. So as I'm evolving, that's a word you used earlier, as I'm evolving in this corporate life, I'm realizing, number one, it's maybe only one black person per floor, right? Mm-hmm. And then it seemed like, was sad. Or depressed, right? Not saying that they were, but it's just my perception of it at the time was like, man, everybody's so down and they feel like they in bondage to the system that's going on.
And it's interesting because now from the portrait you just illustrated as far as how the work environment is there, I can understand how somebody at that age who has the whole world in front of them can think, well, maybe I don't know if I want to do 20 years like this. What I want to get into when we come back from our break is how did you decide to switch from energy to real estate? And who introduced you to Larry? Okay. And how did you guys decide to let your powers combine to start?
Okay, that's
successful real estate.
Let's roll with that. Yeah,
that's a good story.
So
Rick,
when we come back from break, will you feel comfortable going into a little bit of you and Larry's personal background and how you guys decided that you wanted to get into business partnership with each other?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone, please stay tuned. We have a short message from our sponsor, and we'll be right back to the Prime Real Estate Network.
Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Back to the Prime Real Estate Network. Thank you. I'm your host, Ric Davis. You can follow me on social media, Instagram and Facebook at Prime Real Estate Ric. Before our break, I was speaking to our guest, and our guest this week is not only the CEO, but he's also the co-founder of our lead sponsor, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. So let's get back to the conversation with Mr. Michael G. Davis. Now, before our break, Michael, we talked about a little.
Hold on, real before you get into that guy. I just found out that the gentleman changed his title from president to CEO about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing the things that I go through with this partnership, but I love this guy.
The theme of today is evolving, man. I've evolved into the CEO.
I couldn't help it. I had to laugh about that.
Oh, no. Because we got you back. No, you back this week. First segment, I let you sit there. You were in the social media getting us shared, and I appreciate that. But now we get into in the beginning.
There we go.
So before our break, Mike, we talked about your pre-real estate professional life. So I want to get into the transition and the decision to embark in a real estate profession.
Right.
And your initial introductions to Mr. Brooks.
Okay. And it's funny you bringing that up now, right? So my best friend that I met in college is actually getting married on Saturday.
Oh,
right?
wow.
His name's Jermaine. I ain't gonna say his last name.
Congratulations, Jermaine.
So, and it's funny that you're asking that question because he's the reason that I got into real estate.
Oh, man, come on.
He's the
Shout out Jermaine one more again.
He's the reason. I mean, he tells me all the time, he say, look, man, I need to be getting some residuals or something because I'm the one that did
it. Royalties, publishing.
But let me tell you how that happened, though, right? Okay. So, I pledged. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma. We was at a regional conference. For those that are, pledges, y'all know you have conferences and things like that. So we was at a regional conference in Houston, and one of the older members of the organization pulled us to the side. Now, I had just graduated. He was still in school, I believe, but I had just graduated, maybe out about a couple of months. Mm-hmm. And he pulled us to the side and he said, look, you guys need to get into real estate, right? He's giving us some game, right? So he's like, yeah, gotta get your money, but real estate where it's at, you need to do this, you need to do that. So now back then, again, I'm just jump head first without considering all my options. Like that's one of the things that I can say as I get older, I'm a little slower on moving, right? But back then, somebody say, let's do this. I'm like, that sound good. Boom, we do it. So next thing you know, the next week, I didn't pay for my real estate classes and I didn't pay for his real estate classes, right? And that's how I know I'd already graduated. I was already working.
Right.
So we go to our first class, right? Now at the time, you could do where you could get your real estate, because you had to take 4 classes, and you could get your credit, your certificate, by taking like a 12-hour weekend class.
Seriously?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could go on Friday,
Yep.
12 hours, Saturday, 12 hours, and then Sunday is like 8 hours. And you could get all your hours over a course of a weekend,
Yep.
right?
Giving out weekend real estate
Weekend,
licenses.
Man, weekend, you could get that course done. You only had to do 4 courses. So look, if you did that,
Right.
you could get you could take all your classes in a month.
And be done.
Right? And be done.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So we took our first class. Man, it's 12 hours. We're gonna be in there. It probably wasn't even hour number 2. My man, I look over at my man, and he got his head down on the desk. Sleep. That boy knocked out in the class.
Right.
So I'm going through. So we made it through that first class, right? Man, if he'd have called me the next day, he like, look, man, I don't think this for me. Now, mind you, I didn't pay for everything. I didn't pay for the classes. So he like, nah, man, this ain't for me. But I'm like, look, I done got started. I'm gonna go ahead and finish it and get my license, right? I'm gonna go ahead and do that, right? So my man, he's a peace officer at this moment, but he comes in on the investment side of things, but he never got his retail license, right?
Right.
And again, hindsight 2020. My man at the conference wasn't talking about us getting our real estate licenses. He was talking about us investing in real estate. That's what he was talking about.
Exactly.
But we ain't know no better at the time.
Yeah.
So I got the license. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna make this real estate thing work. I'm gonna try to do it part-time while I do the corporate America thing, do the real estate on the side.
Right.
And it ran into one of those situations where I'm doing corporate America, and then after I finish corporate America, I'm doing this real estate thing, but I'm not making no money in real estate.
Right.
And now I feel like I'm working 18-hour days, but only making engineering money. One of these got to go. Right. I felt like probably because I wasn't putting enough energy into the whole real estate piece. Right. And you asked in the first segment, how did I go from that to real estate?
Right.
At that moment, I'm like, one of these got to go.
Yeah.
Right. Which one of these is about to go? So I sat down, I thought about it, and I looked at my landscape when it come to corporate America and African Americans and leadership, and by this time I want to be CEO or something. Right? And I'm like, well, I can go this corporate America route, but I ain't really a lot of me up there.
Right.
And in looking at it, a lot of these people that are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies didn't really come through the company to become CEO.
Mm-hmm.
They came from somewhere else.
Outside, right.
They came from outside, and it wasn't a lot of engineers that were CEOs. Like CEO really came more from the business department, so accounting, finance, and economics from that standpoint. And so then I'm like, okay, so 30 years here in this corporate scene, 30 years trying to work through, I know it's going to be hard, but trying to build my own thing through this real estate piece, where would I be after those 30 years? So I'm like, look, I'm just going to place a bet on myself. And at that point, that was the moment I walked into my boss's office and gave in my 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I didn't talk to nobody about it. I didn't talk to my parents, no friends or nothing. I just kind of had that assessment. And then I went in there and I put in my 2 weeks.
No, this is interesting. I want to ask Larry this because early in the first segment, Mike mentioned that we're nearing the 10-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So just for our audience, Larry, what advice or experiences do you think our audience could get some information from as far as how to build a partnership for 10 years and evolve with each other throughout life changes, life evolution, family evolution, that type of thing? Because I think a lot of times when friends, family decide to incorporate, get into business with each other, these are things that they don't necessarily take into account.
No doubt. And the thing is, Rick, is Jay-Z said it best on the Black Album. He said everybody good when one person down and the other one's carrying, but when everybody get to a point to where they're happy, they financially good, how do you make something work at that point?
Right.
And I want to say probably in about year 3 or year 4, me and Mike found our happy place financially, and the business continued to still grow up into this day. And so, like you were saying, we're 10 years in, and I think a large amount of it is trust. We trust each other. We trust each other, kind of like in the Bible how it talks about the mustard seed, just having faith of a mustard seed. Because the thing is I trust when I don't see Mike for a week, 2 weeks, that Mike is still grinding for Brooks and Davis.
Right.
And in return, I feel that Mike feels the exact same way when he's not seeing me, or he hears in Destin, Florida or somewhere, that he still knows that behind the scenes I'm still doing everything that I can in order to make what we have a huge success.
Right.
And so Mike could talk more to it, but that's really my concept of it, because when I think about 10 years of a partnership, and everyone always says no partnership, no, don't do it.
Right.
I have a different vision on partnerships, and it could be just because I've had an opportunity to build this brand with Michael that is giving me that different ideal or landscape of what I think partnership looks like.
And then this is why I personally feel like this episode is so important and so powerful for us to record and put out there for the youth, is because a lot of times, especially social media, popular media, television, movies, especially for business professionals and men of color, they always show a rise and a fall.
Right.
Or they show a rise, a split,
Right.
and dissension.
Right.
So there aren't a lot of examples of men of color in partnership building a long, sustainable brand with a documented history of success.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of the things, is this something that you gentlemen have to discuss regularly? Is this something that, like a lot of times?
That's a good question, though. No,
because every company has certain annual events that's geared to build camaraderie. Either a Christmas party, New Year's Eve parties. And when you get to higher in the food chain of these companies, they have board of directors meetings and board of directors outings where they bring the family and they build that family atmosphere.
Right.
Is that something that you gentlemen have? Are you currently doing something along those lines? And do you see it as valuable and necessary?
What I can say, Rick, is that it's something that we should be more intentional about doing it. It has organically happened, though, in many instances throughout the years. Like we would just, we end up at a conference together, like the conference he went to the NARAB conference, right? So we would go to that together, or we'll go to the National Association of Realtors conference together, me and him. And those kind of turned into those bonding experiences where we could get to, in a relaxed environment, just talk about stuff that doesn't come up on a day-to-day basis because we out here, grinding it out. I think Larry really spoke to one of the linchpins in a relationship, which is trust. And also, it starts, Rick, at the beginning, before you make the decision to form the partnership.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Talk about that.
Larry and I were able to see each other. They were able to see each other during the recession period. Right?
Ups and downs.
Yeah. Well, when the bottom completely fell out.
Gone.
Done. Like completely fell out, right? At that time, we weren't partners. And prior to that moment, I had said I wasn't never gonna get no partner because I felt like nobody was gonna match my grind. Like there's nobody out there that's gonna grind like me, so why partner with anybody, right? Well, after 2007, I said, and I'm pretty sure he said the same thing. Look, I don't want to ever experience nothing like that by myself ever again. Again by myself. And at the time, me and Larry were sharing office because unfortunately during that time frame, I got put out my office. Owning my own real estate company, my own brand, my own personal brand, I got put out my office. And Larry had some space, and I had to go in there and share space with him. But it gave us an opportunity to see how we handled adversity individually, right? So now I was able to see how he handled adversity. He's able to see how I handled adversity.
That's right.
So we know in building this brand, it's going to be tough times. I need to make sure I'm yoked up with somebody that ain't going to cut and run.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's going to work with me through this thing. So I was able to see that. And I think that always being able to fall back on that, even during the day-to-day, if I start telling myself stories about when I do see him out, turning it up, whatever, and I'm like, well, he out there playing this, and that, but I can always fall back on, well, no, that's not his makeup, because I've seen him grind. He's still gonna grind, and he's gonna be with this till the end, and I have the assurance in understanding that.
I mean, and I want to thank you again for coming, because I think yours and Larry's story is a testament to loyalty, stick-to-itiveness, commitment, and follow through.
Absolutely.
And most importantly, all built on a bedrock and foundation of trust.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that story, from a business perspective, gets talked about enough.
Right.
I think a lot of times people look at business as more of a cutthroat, deception, more of like a nighttime drama like Dynasty or Dallas.
Yeah,
They look
yeah,
at
yeah,
business
yeah.
as something like that, like everybody has to be J.R. Ewing
Right.
or Asa Buchanan.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I don't think that it necessarily has to be that way.
Right.
So I want to thank you for your candor
Absolutely.
and being able to tell your story today. For all of our followers, people who are tuning into the show for the first time, could you please remind everyone of how they could keep up with you, follow you on social media, and any upcoming speaking engagements where people may have an opportunity to interact with you personally?
All right,
please.
perfect. Okay, so I am on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn as well. So Michael G. Davis, I think with the Instagram is Michael G. Davis 2016, and then you can just search me on LinkedIn with Michael G. Davis, and also the Brooks and Davis YouTube page. So we're putting a lot of emphasis in restructuring that, also putting a lot of content out there, especially if you want to get into real estate. Even if you're already in real estate, maybe you're with another brokerage firm, we're putting a lot of content on there that can help develop you and train you. And if you want to talk about making a move, you can reach out to us, and we can definitely put you in a position where you can be more successful in this business, because that's what we're about at Brooks and Davis. Now, I will be speaking the end of August. It's called The Gathering, and we're going to be talking about gentrification and wealth building. So if you're looking to invest, learn more about investing in real estate, maybe you live in one of these gentrified areas, or your parents live in one of these areas. Maybe that's South Park, Sunnyside, Third Ward. It's going to be at the Houston Museum of African American Culture. That's on Caroline Street, August 24th through August 25th. I'm actually going to be speaking about the basics of real estate assets, and that talk is going to be on Saturday at 1 o'clock. So we, as a community, we have to get to a point to where we start pulling our money.
That's right.
And go back into our neighborhoods and start investing. The land is still affordable. The opportunity is still there. The locations are excellent, especially they're right outside the loop. And guess where the loop is going, right? It's expanding.
Yes.
Right? So you don't want to be... You want to already be in position when the gentrification begins, and trust me, it's been started already. Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So
Bob at
come
the block. Let's get it.
Yeah. So August 24th, 25th, the Houston Museum of African American Culture. If you want me to send you the information, like I said, you can go look me up on YouTube, to the YouTube page, direct message me on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. You can find me, and I can get that information to you.
Oh, no doubt. I'll definitely be there, because I think that information is invaluable.
Absolutely.
Mr.
Totally
Brooks, where can our watchers, subscribers have opportunity to hear you speak or interact with you?
You no doubt about it. Well, just if you follow me on IG or even Facebook, you have a great opportunity. I always put everything out there. Try to give, again, tangible information on a daily basis. So Instagram, Texas Real Estate King. Facebook, you can find me on Texas Real Estate King, or you can go to my website, larrywbrooks.com. That'll give you more insight on what I have going on. If you ever want to reach out to me and do some private consultations, you can reach me there as well. Before closing, I want to just say this show right here was one of the ones that I was waiting on. I love having an opportunity to narrow this guy down, because believe it or not, we're partners, but I really see him come and go, because we really focus on building and working this business. And so it's not a lot of play when we come in contact with each other as much as it is about building the business. So just having my partner in here for the last 10 years.
Yeah, man, 10 years.
Hey,
man.
I'm ecstatic. I'm looking forward to the next 20 years. Now, he may be sitting in that office by himself, but, Brooks and Davis, the brand, going to still be there.
It'll be one of the offices, one of the many offices that we have. But
Exactly.
this is, you rarely see us together. And people can attest to it. When you get Brooks and Davis in the room, then
No doubt about
it's
it.
something special.
Yes, sir.
Well, once again, gentlemen, this was an outstanding show. I want to thank you, Mr. Davis, for being here. Hey, Larry, it's good to have you back. You know what I mean? Next time, let the let the people know when you gonna be out of town.
No
so
doubt about it.
my phone not blowing up with questions of where's Larry.
Right. And
So-
look, if you ever need a co-host when he gone, man.
Oh,
I
got
can
you.
work on my-
You got a
my
seat here.
co-hosting
Come on,
still.
man. You sponsor the show. You got a spot here with me anytime. So I want to thank everyone on Facebook, IG Live, all of our subscribers, everyone who's tuning in the podcast or going to our YouTube channel. As always, if you're looking to buy real estate, sell real estate, or need property management services, I want to urge you to go to brooksanddavis.com because we definitely can get that done for you. I want to urge everyone to go to our YouTube channel again. You can find that by searching The Prime Real Estate Network. You can also find our podcast pages on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify. So once again, on behalf of my co-host, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, and our guest, Mr. Michael G. Davis, I am Rick Davis. I thank everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.
Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.